Dak Prescott and the 12th pick for the number 1 overall pick.
No.
The Cowboys get Shador Sanders and Deion Sanders.
So welcome to the consensus. This is the first ever episode. My name is Nick.
My name is Cooper.
And I'm Dishon or Omar White on my YouTube.
Guy. And this is a new podcast. We, us three who are going to be on the mic for you today, we are students at Central Michigan University. Our producer, Will Burdick, is also a student at Central Michigan University. We are all freshmen. And this is just going to be like a general sports pod, but we're going to kick it off with football just because it's in season right now. It's at the peak because we're in playoffs.
What are we, some kind of freshman for?
So I think our first topic today is Lions playoffs, which did not go as intended.
No, it did not. No. The Detroit Lions coming off a first round bye. After clinching the 1 seed against the Minnesota Vikings in Week 18, and losing our 2 best coordinators in Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn right now. Ben Johnson went to the Bears and Aaron Glenn went to the Jets. And we lost to the Commanders in the divisional round 45-31. Tough loss. I mean, I just want to get your guys' thoughts on that. What are your guys' thoughts on it?
I think that this was just a wake-up call for the rest of the NFL. It's telling you that the 1 seed does not necessarily have to be treated as such a reward, because some teams, I believe, they can benefit from having a bye because of how well they're getting rested and how used to it they are. For
sure.
example, like the Lions didn't have a bye since week 5?
Week 5 was our bye.
Yeah. So with that being said, they weren't used to it even through all the injuries. They didn't know how to rest, and that's why they kept winning. They were on a hot streak, actually. But some teams that know how to rest, like the Chiefs, who had 3 weeks off, they had a bunch of time to get used to it and then get back into work. So I'm pretty sure they had a holiday break or something and just got back into work.
For sure.
Yeah.
I feel like Detroit walked into that game thinking it was going to be a breeze. I think the rest of the NFL thought that it was going to be a breeze.
Yeah, for sure.
And they ran into the monster that is Jaden Daniels. Yeah, he's crazy.
Yeah.
And Lions struggled all year pretty subtly with running quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Like Caleb Williams had a surprising amount of rushing yards when Detroit played against the Bears.
I think it's a wake-up call for, I think, us struggling with running QBs. I think that woke up with Josh Allen, really,
For sure.
when we played the Bills. I mean, that game was close at the very end. I thought we were going to come back in that game, but unfortunately we didn't. It's a wake-up call. We do need to be able to manage the run defense. And as I mentioned, Aaron Glenn no longer being with the Lions. What's you guys' top pick for a new defensive coordinator? I think, in my personal opinion, Robert Saleh should get the job.
Yeah, for sure. Bring Robert Saleh home would be huge. And I don't know what you guys think, but I think that the loss of Aaron Glenn won't be huge. I think that the loss of Ben Johnson, it will definitely be a bigger impact. I think that Aaron Glenn almost lost Detroit the game by saying, we're going to blitz you the whole game and we're going to see what you deal or how you deal with it. Jaden Daniels played excellent.
Yeah. Dealt
with the blitz, dealt with the pressure, looked super composed, and then just completely torched the Lions defense. Like, they went cover 0 a couple of times. Jaden Daniels absolutely smoked them.
Yeah.
So there's good learning points, and hopefully Lions will get a defensive coordinator that is willing to adjust, like a Robert Saleh.
Yeah, and I think it comes to a point to where, in that game, Aaron Glenn is thinking, I wish him well on the Jets, but it was just a point where it was the third quarter and he was still using the blitz. I expected him to come out in the second half, with zone coverage, knowing that Jaden Daniels is he's gonna throw it deep if you use man, and he's gonna scramble anyways if you blitz him. So I feel like matching guy on guy, not sort of like a man, but kind of like you stay in your zone, but you know what guy you're on, which is like a play that works efficiently in the NFL, or even using a cover 2 that prevents the deep ball from being thrown is perfect, especially when you have a QB spy along with that.
Yeah.
And Yeah, he failed to do that, but it could have been because he wasn't used to a running quarterback, so he didn't know exactly what to do.
Mm-hmm.
For sure.
And I was at the game, and with my dad. And what we did notice a lot in the game is that Jaden Daniels likes to throw that screen pass.
Yeah.
And that's what really torched, I think, the Lions a lot more. First off, second play of the game, I think it was, Amik Robertson going out. Absolutely huge for us. Locked up.
Brutal loss.
Yeah, brutal loss for us. He completely locked up Justin Jefferson in the Week 18 win. If we did not lose him, I think it would have been a lot closer of a game and would have been able to be much better for man coverage, I think.
Yeah.
But ultimately, in my personal opinion, I didn't think Kirby Joseph played that well.
Yeah, he definitely struggled. It felt like he was missing lots of like where the ball is going to be going.
Yeah.
In terms of misreading Jaden Daniels and where he was playing the ball.
Mm-hmm.
So that definitely struggled. I honestly think that this loss comes on like three main things. Jared Goff turned the ball over too many times. Yeah. And then Aaron Glenn and Ben Johnson both not having their best coordinating performances. It definitely felt like, kind of feels like you're more worried about your job that you're going to get, where you're going to get paid millions to go be a head coach.
Yeah.
Which obviously they both got. And it seemed like they were distracted. I think a great statement from Bill Belichick earlier was he thinks that it's ridiculous that these teams are allowed to interview coordinators that are playing in the season.
Yeah.
And that absolutely killed the Lions because Lions' game plan against the Commanders' 30th ranked rushing defense should have been, why didn't you run the ball with Jahmyr Gibbs?
Yeah, I think I totally agree with Bill Belichick on this. I mean, even when Goff went down, Goff went out for a couple plays. Teddy Bridgewater stepped in, and as soon as Teddy Bridgewater stepped in, we got a touchdown. I mean, yeah, frankly, he did not really throw the ball that much. Only really threw the ball, I think, once. But when Goff came back in after the hit that he took, I don't think that we should have been having Goff throw the ball. Mm-hmm. I think it was that Goff threw the ball over 40 times, and I think it was over 300 yards. But
3 picks.
Yeah, 3 picks killed us.
And the fumble.
And the fumble. Yeah. And in the red zone, was it, I think?
Yeah,
Either
I'm
way.
pretty sure it was.
Yeah, it was at like the 30-yard line.
Yeah. Either way, his 3 picks, fumble, and even Ben Johnson calling that ridiculous pass from J-Mo just throwing a pass. I don't know what he was thinking. And I don't remember who exactly he was going to. I think it was Gibbs. I can't really remember exactly that play. But one thing's for sure is that it was a really bad play call. And in my personal opinion, this loss really does not stand with Dan Campbell as much as he wants to take the blame. I don't think he really made the bad decisions like he did in the NFC Championship last year where 4th downs cost us. I think it falls on Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn despite having a basically whole defense on IR.
Yeah, this was definitely their worst performance since Lions-Ravens in October of 2023 when they lost 38-6 in Baltimore. And I remember because I was on a trip for that game and I came back looking at my phone and I'm like, the Lions, they lost by 30 points when they were actually like playing their best season in ages. And I know it was because Lamar Jackson is a running QB and Aaron Glenn has not made the adjustment yet. So yeah, when the Jets go to play, they're in the AFC East, so they have the Patriots, they have the Dolphins.
Yep.
The Patriots, the Dolphins.
Well, in their division, it's more of like a kind of confusing one to remember.
Yeah.
They have the Patriots and Dolphins, I know that for sure, and they also have the Bills.
Yeah, and that's filled with 2 running quarterbacks and then one perspective, wouldn't it?
The Ravens playing the NFC or AFC North.
Oh yeah, I'm not talking about the Ravens. I'm talking about the. No, yeah, it's okay. I was like the Jets with Aaron Glenn being the head coach, it's gonna really take the defensive coordinator on that team to really bring the Jets back to life from what they were this year. They only won about 4 or 5 games this season, so it's really gonna look interesting. So But I do have a question for you guys. With this loss and with all this stuff happening, what do you guys think about next year's projections for the Lions?
So next year, Lions have, in my opinion, and I think pretty much the majority of people's opinion, they have the hardest schedule in the NFL.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, I'm pretty sure the NFL looked at the Lions going undefeated and on road games and said, that's never happening again.
Yeah.
Because now you got to play some crazy teams on the road. I don't think that the Lions are going to have a chance to get the 1 seed. They might struggle to get the 2 seed. If Philly plays just as good as they have this year, you never know. The Commanders could get even better. The Vikings, we'll see how they improve, or they could get worse depending on if they keep Darnold or if they put in J.J. McCarthy. Packers could throw some wrenches in the plans. I feel like the Lions are going to find themselves in a similar situation that they did last year when they lost the NFC Championship game where they were the 3 seed. I could definitely see something like that happen. I could also see them getting a 5 seed and getting the wild card spot.
Yeah.
I think that they'll be fine, but we'll see how they adjust. I think that the biggest point of emphasis for Detroit is they got to stay healthy.
Yeah.
Aiden Hutchinson was the defensive player of the year to start out the season, without a doubt. He had 7.5 sacks. He had 4 against, who was that? Dallas, I think.
I think Dallas when he went down.
Dallas
Yeah.
right before he got hurt. So he had 4 sacks in the first half. He was going to be your defensive player of the year. He goes down, and then you get big losses such as Carlton Davis with his broken jaw.
Lee
McNeil tears, yes, absolutely.
Tears his ACL. I mean, we're not going to have Lee McNeil for almost half the season next year, it feels like.
We'll see.
When he tore his ACL against the Bills this year. I mean...
And that was such a huge loss because he was an excellent run stopper.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure we also lost Khalil Dorsey, the kick returner, which was a big piece for us as well.
Yeah.
And then at the same time, too, I also want to bring up, like Nick said, it's going to be a struggle for the Lions next year. I think realistically this year, our momentum got stopped. I think if we would have gotten the wild card spot, if we got a wild card spot, I think we would have thrived a lot more. I think we feed off of not resting that much, and I think and off our bye week we played the Cowboys this year. Easy game, but that got us right on the trajectory to go on that undefeated run up until we played the Bills, and then once we got the bye, our momentum completely stopped. Mm-hmm. We had a break. Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn went on interviews, and players just relaxed. Not saying they didn't practice at all, but I mean, it's a real struggle to balance a bye with the momentum that you have, especially after that dominant performance against the Vikings in Week 18.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like it's definitely hard to say that you want to be playing in the wild card. Like, it's hard to say that you would rather not have a bye.
Yeah.
But at the same time, with a team that was momentum based like the Lions this year, I feel like they definitely could have benefited from playing the Rams in the first round in Arizona, or they could have had the 2 seed, and then you play the Packers at home. And the Packers are a very good matchup for Detroit because Jordan Love, not very mobile, and then lots of the Packers team was injured. So I definitely could have played to the Lions' benefit, especially with Jair Alexander hurt. So I definitely think that it's hard to say you want to not have rest, but at the same time, they definitely could have benefited from it.
As for predictions, I think the NFC North is going to be the most dangerous division next year, by far.
Without a doubt.
Ben Johnson, I think Ben Johnson will be able to unlock the potential that Caleb Williams has. Yeah. There's no doubt in my head that Caleb Williams has the potential to be a superstar QB, if not one of the greatest QBs in the league. Ben Johnson, I think, will be able to unlock that. We know Ben Johnson with the Lions, and honestly, as people have said, it's kind of like not the solidest of goodbyes. Only waited about less than 48 hours after the loss to take that job, while Aaron Glenn took time to process it probably, and then had a second interview with the Jets, took that job. But Ben Johnson, I know, will be committed to getting that O-line fixed and getting more pieces for Caleb Williams to throw the ball to.
Yeah.
I think also at the same time, off-season moves. What do we do?
That's a good question. I think we need to probably draft a corner. I think that would be, or more specifically, a linebacker. Because if Alex Anzalone ends up leaving and not re-signing with the Lions,
I don't think he will leave. I think he will. I think he will absolutely stay. I think. I did see an interview with him where he did say legacy. Where would you want to leave a legacy? Detroit loves him. I mean, if you look at his return in Week 18, he got a huge pop when they announced his name at as the final defensive player to walk out of the tunnel.
Yeah.
I mean, people love him.
Sure.
I think that you defensively, if you're thinking who's your first round pick, I definitely think that they could go edge. You could draft a Jack Sawyer. You could draft a JT Tuiomala, and then you could let them be more rotational guys along with Zadarius Smith and Hutchinson. I feel like you gotta see what you get out of Ennis Rakestraw. I think Terrion Arnold is going to be able to make a big jump when he learns to not try to kill a guy on every single route that he runs. And then if you re-sign if you just keep Carlton Davis and then he stays healthy, he can be a good option for you. You never know what you can get out of Meek Robertson. And I feel like their linebacking core, when it was healthy, it was good. Jack Campbell and Alex Anzalone both played pretty good this year when they were both healthy. It's just when everybody all got hurt, it's just Jack Campbell and a bunch of nobodies. It's hard for the linebacking core to keep on playing excellent. So I think that edge is definitely a pick that they could look towards. They could also look towards O-line, but we'll see.
Yeah. I mean, if we do lose and not re-sign Zadarius Smith, which I feel like we might not, he's an aging edge, and I don't really think he lived up to what we expected. I feel like as much of a pressure that he kind of brought.
I kind of disagree.
I do too.
Yeah.
He played up perfectly to what role he was supposed to fulfill. I did not go into the signing that they got from the Browns expecting him to be an all-pro kind of guy. I expected him to be more of a bridge player itself because of the fact that Hutchinson went down and then McNeil going down even worse. It kind of creates the same illusion as Jack Campbell where if he's like the only D lineman that's there that's making an impact, they're going to double team him all the time. Or at least put their number one blocker on him at all times to make sure he doesn't get that many pressures or sacks.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like Zadarius Smith played pretty good. I think he had 6 sacks, I believe, for the Lions.
I think 6.
Yeah, I think he had 6 because Aiden had 7.5, and Aiden still led the team with sacks by the end of the year. I definitely think that only McNeil going down against Buffalo, I think hurt Zadarius Smith's ceiling of what could have been throughout the year, like you said, because now he's getting doubled more. Because all of a sudden you have nobody that's rushing the passer. I mean, DJ Reader isn't really a pass rushing kind of big man in the middle. He's more of a run stopper. So I think that Zadarius Smith could walk in free agency. But I think that you would rather retain him. I feel like there's a possibility that he wants a lot of money and then the Fords aren't willing to pay him, which I could definitely see happening. But, I mean, we'll see if Brad Holmes can work some Brad Holmes magic.
Yeah. If he does walk, I think with Khalil Mack not retiring, I think we go out and try to get him.
Oh, he's going to want a lot of money, though.
He will. Yeah. And that might take a big dig into what we might pay in free agency for a big-time player that'll get us over the hump and into Super Bowl contention.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And speaking of Super Bowl contention, how about we talk about what possible Super Bowl matchups we could have, and let's talk about the conference championship games.
Yeah.
So we've got Commanders versus the Eagles. Want to get some thoughts?
As kind of disappointed. I was kind of like sad that the Lions aren't in the NFC Championship. I think the Commanders will be able to put up a fight, but ultimately I think the Eagles will be able to get the best of them. With how the Eagles did play with their backup and Kenny Pickett in, I think that the Commanders ultimately lose with Jalen Hurts. And granted, Jalen Hurts is a good QB. I just think Saquon Barkley has done way much more for the Eagles this year than Jalen Hurts has. And if the Eagles do win the Super Bowl this year, I think Jalen Hurts will not be given any credit, really, to be honest, by the media, and it will just be all put on Saquon Barkley, having an All-Pro year, leading the NFL in rushing yards, and
MVP candidate now too.
MVP candidate.
Just announced today.
Yeah, and I mean, Jalen Hurts won't get any credit, but Saquon Barkley having an amazing season. I mean, just think about like how much greater he could be if he didn't stay with the Giants for that time. I think I did see a stat that he was with the Giants for 6 years, had only 10 games of like 100 plus yards. I think it was that. But looking at this season, he's had 10 games where he's been over that. And I mean, I think it goes without saying, in my personal opinion, a good O-line makes a good running back and a good QB. Because more time in the pocket for a QB to be able to find a read to throw the ball, and more openings for a running back to be able to get through.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I feel like the Commanders are at a big mismatch. Jalen Hurts is a pretty mobile guy, and then you have the passing attack that he brings with A.J. Brown and Devonta Smith and Dallas Goedert. And then you stack on that you have a 2,000-yard rusher. That is going to be very difficult for the Commanders, I think, to handle. And then that game's in Philly. It's going to be crazy because Philly fans are quite the demons. So I feel like the Commanders have quite the uphill battle. I would take Philly by probably 2 scores. What do you think, Dishon?
Can we just talk about how cold it is up in Philly, probably, too?
I was going to say Philadelphia by 13. I don't really care about this NFC East rematch. I just want one team to go against the drama kids over in Kansas City at this point. So that's all I have to say about this game.
What can we just say? Let's hope the Bills absolutely whoop the Chiefs. I mean, AFC Championship. I mean, let's talk about that.
I don't know. Close game is what I'm feeling. The Chiefs still haven't scored over 30 points in a game. Mm-hmm. And they are not only the 1 seed. They would have, yeah, I know. Isn't that insane?
Crazy work too, yeah.
It's them, the New England Patriots, and the Raiders.
Yeah.
That's insane.
And not to mention,
it's accustomed to how good their defense is.
I think not to mention either, they were one rested game away from resting their starters in the end of the season from going 16-1. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's just completely insane. It's insane. And I think also too, going back to the Commanders Lions game when Jared Goff got lit up after his pick 6. Can we talk about how roughing the passer is called? I mean, with the Chiefs, I mean, I think personally, even the Texans came out and said that they knew it was going to be them versus the refs, basically.
Yeah, that's what I meant by theatrics earlier. Yeah, I was trying to mention the Chiefs game, and I know that it's going to happen again on Sunday. So, yeah.
To be fair, Texans lost the game regardless.
Yeah.
True.
Obviously, the momentum that Kansas City gets from some favorable calls is obviously going to play a role into it. Still think Kansas City would have won that game even with the ref and the passer.
Regardless.
The Chiefs are one of the best one-score teams we've ever seen in NFL history. They win a bunch of crazy close games.
Well, unless they go against the Lions.
Unless they go against Detroit.
Yeah.
But they win lots of close games, and that's an attribute to how good Mahomes has been, how good Andy Reid has been.
Yeah.
I think that Kansas City has the advantage. It's in Arrowhead. I feel like their defense is gonna do a good job. I don't want to have Kansas City and Philadelphia in the Super Bowl.
I don't want that rematch.
That is the worst possible outcome. But I think it's what's gonna happen, unfortunately.
Yeah, I think realistically, if the Bills play as good as they did when they played Kansas City earlier this season, I think the Bills move on. It's just the factor of will the pressure of the last couple times they've matched up in the playoffs get to Josh Allen or anyone else on that team, and will they able to right the wrong, and will Josh Allen be able to stamp himself as, and I know postseason doesn't really count as for MVP, but will Josh Allen prove any haters wrong about statistical stats with Lamar Jackson, and prove that he's the true MVP of the league this year?
You know what I think? I think he's not gonna do it. And it's only because I think that the Bills can still win the football game and make it to the Super Bowl. However, Josh Allen in the regular season has proven to be inconsistent. For example, they lost to the Patriots. So
in the last game,
that was that game, but they almost
Josh Allen didn't play that
Josh
game.
Allen,
they almost lost to the Patriots.
Josh Allen only played.
They almost lost to the Patriots the last time. Before that, the week after they played the Lions,
because Drake May is the truth.
Well, yes.
Vanilla Vic is my go.
Well, the Patriots still hold a top 5 pick in the draft.
But then again, too, I mean, you got to think about the narrative this season. The Lions fatigue. Almost a lot of teams that did play the Lions did have close games or did lose after their next game.
Yes.
The Bills, I think the Bills did kind of get that a little bit. I mean, their defense had, I feel little time to score in that, little time to rest in that game. I mean, our defense was so shaken up. I mean, the Bills were able to just march down the field, get a touchdown or a field goal, and then their defense has to come right back on and defend us.
Yeah, Bills are an excellent football team, and they have shown it down the stretch of the whole year. They've won less close games than Kansas City for sure, but the Bills can also play some of those close games. They have a good enough defense to where they can get some stops when you need it. And I do think that players like Matt Milano could come in clutch. Mm-hmm. I think that'll be one of their biggest players. He's probably going to have to defend Kelsey a lot in terms of linebacker on tight end coverage. So we'll see how that goes. I ultimately do think that Kansas City is still going to win though.
Yeah, the Bills remind me of the Denver Nuggets of the NFL. They've made it every year to be in contention or at least make the playoffs.
The Nuggets got a ring though.
Yeah.
Yes, they did.
Jokic is the truth.
No, I know that. That is true, and that might be the thing that separated. They have an MVP as well.
Are you saying the Bills don't have an MVP on their hands? I mean, look at his wide receiver core.
You have Amari Cooper.
That's really it.
Well, when you think about Baltimore, Lamar Jackson was their receiving core.
Well,
Zay Flowers, and Mark Andrews and Isaiah Uckley.
Mark Andrews.
I mean, hang on.
He was good during the rest of the season.
He was good.
Not my fault that he freaking dropped the pass in the end zone. That's not my fault.
Yeah, that's not. It's one moment.
That's true.
You can't discredit an entire season just by defined by one game. I think that's what Lions fans and the media is trying to do with Jared Goff.
That's what I did.
Yeah. One bad game in the playoffs does not define a player's season.
That's true.
I mean, look at the Texans game. Threw 5 interceptions, which you bet on to throw another interception.
I did a sweepstakes. And it was after the 4th pick.
This is a crazy story because we're all in here. We're watching the Lions game on the TV that's over here, and we're watching the game. And Dishon's like, I'm going to bet Jared Goff to throw another pick. Yeah, we're like, why the fuck would you do that? That's what he does.
He threw 4 in one game, and I was like, let's see if he throws another.
Most of those weren't even his fault, let's be honest.
Well, that one was.
And this was bragging about it.
I was like, I knew it. I knew it.
Yeah, we were all giving you shit about it because it's like, why would you want that to happen?
Yeah.
I guess what they still won anyway, but it didn't matter.
Yeah,
I
I was happy.
It's all about narrative. I mean, you can't just discredit a whole player's season based off one bad game
For sure.
or just one bad moment. I mean, Mark Andrews, Buffalo fans are ruthless, let's be honest. I mean, I don't know if it's trolling or just
Baltimore?
I mean,
You
all right,
say
Baltimore.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, Buffalo fans. I'm talking
Yeah,
about
it
Buffalo fans
was
right
in
here.
Buffalo.
I'm talking about Buffalo fans right here. I don't know if this was based off pettiness or actually doing a kind act, but donated to Mark Andrews charity. Raised, I think
they've always done that though.
but is it? But is
It's
it?
kind of a
do it.
passive aggressive
Yeah.
tone.
Yeah, I mean,
I think it's out of kindness.
I think it's out of kindness too, but I can see the media and other people just saying,
Like you.
"Oh, they're just doing this because Mark Andrews sold Baltimore the game."
They're thanking him for.
I
giving
mean,
the
Mark
game to
Andrews
Baltimore.
and his family did go on death threats after the game, and I feel like that's what and Bills Mafia. Much as I don't normally like them, they are generally nice people. So
Yeah.
I think it's out of kindness.
Yeah.
Personally.
I think that's also. I think it's really just. I think fans are kind of misspoken. I think if you're a fan of a team, say you're a Philadelphia fan, and you're really and you're just a kind person, and you're genuinely a good person, and say you're a Philadelphia fan because of your parents, you had no other team to root for besides the team that your parents always rooted for, and then you get dragged into this fan base of Philadelphia where they're known for being assholes and not really being the most polite. You can't. I mean, like a player.
You're right, but it's crazy to
Yeah,
say.
like a player, you can't just discredit one person because of everyone else.
Yeah. We have gotten a little bit off topic.
And
Yeah,
while we're switching
but-
into topics, please share, follow,
Okay.
whatever you have to do to keep updates on the
Shameless.
consensus.
Shameless.
Yeah, you
I
have
don't know
to
what
do
kind
it.
of platforms we're going to be on. I know we're on YouTube for sure.
Yeah.
But, we might be doing
Any
other
other
social-
ones? Give us subs, give us gifts. Maybe we can go to the Lions game and
This-
live react to that one.
This guy.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think the next topic I think we're going to be talking about is the national championship game.
Yeah.
Oh, bro.
We're gonna. So I feel like we're gonna talk a little bit about the interesting roller coaster the national championship game was.
I mean, yeah.
And then I think we're also gonna slide that in with what we think is gonna happen in the NFL draft, and then eventually we will move on to we're gonna move on to a possible other topic.
Do you think
Yeah.
we should take a commercial break?
No.
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 We don't have ad revenue.
Sure we do.
We don't have sponsors.
We have special sponsors.
No.
This
Go to
guy's
Omar
trolling.
White's YouTube.
Okay.
You'll love
So-
it there.
Okay, so real quick, we all have Kansas City, Philadelphia as Super Bowl matchup. That's our
Sad.
prediction.
Unfortunately, we do.
Unfortunate.
Unfortunately, we do.
Unfortunate that
We're gonna get that rematch.
We
but
are
I do
abiding
think-
by the script.
I do think though Philadelphia will be able to get it with Saquon Barkley.
Mm-hmm. That's the
but they lost to Kirk Cousins though, which means that they can't win the Super Bowl.
Oh my God, you have to.
It's the Kirk Cousins curse.
So it's
Cousin
gonna
Kirk.
be a
We are
rookie
doomed. So fun fact, we are doomed for Chiefs 3-peat no matter what, and I'm gonna fucking burn out of
If
steak,
it's
I guess.
Chiefs Commanders, is this gonna be the first ever Super Bowl with 2 black quarterbacks? Hey, look that up while you're following and
didn't
subscribing.
Chiefs
Oh wait, yeah, you're right.
Chiefs-
You're right. No, he's right. I was wrong. It was in 2022
this fool is tweaking.
or 2023.
Okay.
I forgot what year
All right.
Chiefs.
It was
You know what?
2023.
All right, you know what? Next.
Oh, okay.
All right,
yeah.
next topic.
I'm wrong. I'm
So-
sorry for how slow I've been today.
All right, moving
Just a
on.
fact
National,
that-
moving on. National championship.
Okay. So the national championship game was OSU Notre Dame. I was raised as a Michigan fan, so I was rooting for a meteorite to hit the field.
I was raised as a Michigan State fan. I don't want OSU to win, but I kind of figured that they would win. I mean, looking at the first half and up until the final 3 minutes, it felt like it was looking up to be the last 2 national championship games in blowouts.
Yeah.
They should have had the game in Detroit. That's all I'm gonna say. It was freezing cold.
Yeah, you would have
we
getting shot there.
No, in Atlanta it's about.
Oh wait, you know what?
Yeah, so they need I feel like with that, I know it's not necessarily about the actual game, but as far as game sites, I think they should definitely go on a rotating cycle like they do, but with more sites, kind of like the Super Bowl. You know how 1 year it's in Atlanta, 1 year it's in New Orleans.
I'm gonna disagree heavily.
Yeah.
I am of the opinion that lots of followers. If you follow the Joel Klatt show, I highly recommend him because he's awesome. He said that the national championship should be played in Pasadena every year, and I completely agree. When I went to the Rose Bowl game between Michigan and Alabama, that is the best both scenery and atmosphere I've ever been to. I have been to Michigan versus Michigan State games before. I have been to Lions games before, and I have been to other New Year's Six bowl games. Nothing compares to playing when the sun is setting in Pasadena over the mountains. So I understand where you're coming from, but I couldn't disagree more.
Well, I mean, the New Year's Six Bowls are in playoff games already, so the national championship is its own standalone event.
Well, yeah, I think that on a separate note, I think that the bowl system should be reworked, but
Change the Rose Bowl to the Robin Bowl and have it in Michigan. I'm telling you, it's gonna work out.
Here's
you were about to suggest to make the freaking you were about to make the quick lane bowl.
We're gonna change the game above sports bowl, and it's gonna be New Year's Six, guys.
I mean,
the tire
it's
bowl.
gonna be diabolical.
The tire bowl, everyone.
based off of this, I mean, going off of that, I think personally, the Super Bowl and the national championship game, I do agree with Pasadena should be holding the national championship game. As for the Super Bowl, I fully disagree that it should be anywhere near cold because of how many tourists and how many people come to that game.
It's
It'll be all right.
It's got to be in a dome.
It's got to be.
Oh yeah, in a dome.
It's
for sure.
It's got to be in a nice place.
Yeah.
And where
There's a reason that it's gonna be hosted at SoFi lunch.
and where people would want to be traveling there,
Yeah,
and where it's nice out. I mean, not cold like Michigan in February. I mean, as much as it would be nice to have a Super Bowl in Michigan,
We did have one in 2006.
yeah, as nice as it would be to have a Super Bowl in Detroit, I just don't see it happening based off of weather conditions and scenery and tourists.
Well, I think Detroit is a recovering city. It's kind of from its worst era in forever. They're building new buildings downtown, all that. So Detroit is a great sports city too. So I think they're bringing more and more stuff to Detroit, and I think it could host the national championship. Maybe if they build a new stadium, I think it's done for Ford Field. They can keep the quick lane game of sports bowl. I don't think they'll host one. But I mean, at least neutral sites around the country that are near colleges would be nice.
I'm gonna stop you right. I'm gonna stop you right there. I think personally, if Detroit ever hosts something college related, it will be the national championship for basketball.
Yeah, that is perfect. They've had a Final Four before, and I'm pretty sure they get an elite.
Topic.
No,
It's fine. It's fine. Keep going.
That's okay.
Keep going. It's a fun conversation. We've gotten so off topic.
I'm pretty sure.
It's fine.
I'm pretty sure Detroit gets an Elite Eight either this year or next year.
We got the Final Four last
Well,
year.
they always get an opening round. They always get a round of. They always get a first round.
Yeah.
And then I think that they get a Sweet 16 Elite Eight.
I think
Yeah,
you
they,
do them at the same
I
time.
think they got
I'm
the
pretty
Sweet
sure.
16 or the Elite 8 last year. I thought. I may be
I think it was this year.
I may be
I think it's this
mistaken. But
No, or was it?
I think it was.
remember Creighton played here.
Yeah.
You
It
guys
was
can
last-
look it up at home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it
Fact
was.
check
I'm not
us.
looking up this.
And while you're at it, like and subscribe.
Oh my!
I think it was
Yeah.
last year.
It was so shameless.
But okay, I think we should get back on the topic.
Yeah.
I mean, Notre Dame made it a game at the very end. Up until it wasn't. I mean,
Yeah, that was
Shouts to Marcus.
It wasn't. It was a game. Then it wasn't with 31-7, and it was a game. So yeah, I
I
agree.
mean, yeah.
The game was interesting because Notre Dame. Marcus Freeman said this after the game was done. He had stated that their first drive was excellent but unsustainable. They had thrown Riley Leonard at OSU's defense a lot more than they were anticipating for.
And he got
and
thrown around.
he got absolutely smoked on a couple of those hits by OSU's really excellent D-line. And I feel like that ultimately led to Notre Dame stalling on offense a lot. And then late in the game, the decision to kick the field goal instead of go for it, I feel like that was ignited by bad play calling just on that goal line drive. They had 1st and goal at the 9, and then had 4th and goal at the 9.
Yeah, they
didn't do anything with the ball. If Notre Dame just, if they got like a couple yards, if they ran the ball a little bit with Jeremiah Love, then you could have had like a short screen pass, one of your tight ends, or to Great House, one of Notre Dame's great receivers. You could have had something to where you can now go for it on 4th, because you know that your kicker isn't very good. He was 500 on kicks during the regular season, walked into the playoffs, had played excellent, hadn't missed a kick, and then, of course, commentator curse, and he doinks off the left upright. So I feel like Notre Dame, if they benefited from earlier play calling just being a little bit better, and then better execution on said play calling, they could have had a chance to go for it on 4th down. Maybe they could have won. I think it would be super hard to beat OSU in overtime just because
they have so much talent.
They have so many offensive weapons. Like Emeka Ibuka would be a number 1 wide receiver for majority of college teams. He's a number 2. Carnell Tate is probably the best wide receiver 3 in college football.
And then the number 1 freshman in America coming into this, Jeremiah Smith. So, I'm really not.
He had one of the best freshman seasons of all time.
Yeah.
He didn't have the best. Look up Michael Crabtree for Texas Tech, who had 1,900 yards his freshman year.
In about 2 years, I'm going to tell you something right now. There's going to be another thing that ends in state with a receiver that comes out as a Heisman finalist.
All right.
I'll tell you who it is.
No.
It's Nicholas Marsh from Michigan State University.
This guy went to high school with them, so it doesn't count.
I
not even high school. I don't think. I don't even think it was high school.
My relative coaches football at River Rouge High School, and he's been doing that for about 15 years now. So I've been able to see all the players come out of there. They have some really good talent. Kamal Haddon, Ruko Rohoro, and
what now?
He was a second round pick for the Falcons last season.
My fault.
Yeah. And now Nick Marsh, he was the best recruit to ever come out of Rouge so far. So we'll see what happens.
I'm sorry to say this, but that is today's.
I'm
sorry to say that, but that is today's awful take of the day.
I think it's great.
Of Nick Marsh winning Heisman at all.
I said Heisman finalist. Mark my words. And when I prove you're wrong, you're going to laugh.
Put up the graphic. Dishon's dog water takes.
Yep. That's number 1. That's
here.
number 1 for the first episode.
That's one of the year.
That's crazy.
Yep. Because that's diabolical, man.
We have breaking news,
Marsh
though.
Got it.
NBA All-Stars have just been announced for the East.
Oh, my goodness.
Parker Cunningham,
Who?
if he is not a All-Star, I'm going to...
Coming in for the starters at guards, we have Jalen Brunson and Spider Mitchell.
Spider Mitchell's crazy.
And for forwards and a center, we have Giannis, Jason Tatum, and Karl Anthony Towns.
Yes, sir.
And guess who was the first person out of
the
the
big
starters?
bodega?
Well,
Cade Cunningham. Can you believe that?
I wouldn't say that's the first
No,
person.
look on that list.
Is he on the reserve?
It said
He's
Cade
not.
LaMelo didn't make the cut.
Reserves do not get announced until next week, I don't think.
He didn't make it.
Dishon, that does not mean that they're the first out at all.
No, but that's a big line. That means he had to have been.
Because that's the starters.
The
right?
Pistons are 6th in the East. He deserves to be a 6th man. He's the best player.
Dishon, it does not mean that he is the first man out.
I know, but he deserves to be in the conversation.
He will no
be
matter
a reserve.
He will no matter what be a reserve at the lead.
I know.
If he does not get it, I think it is robbery of the year.
It is. It'll be like a Bradley Beal kind of thing where he does amazing and then doesn't.
Do not compare Bradley Beal to Cade Cunningham. Right
Well,
now.
Bradley Beal is an all-star.
Bradley Beal may be an all-star. But
Okay,
recently,
what the fuck is going on? No, he's not.
But
He used to be.
His bum ass got
wasn't
sent to the bench for a reason.
Yeah,
Okay.
recently Bradley Beal has been awful.
Yes.
And as much as I hate to say it, the Suns really screwed themselves by trading for Bradley Beal or signing for him. Either way,
NFL-oriented episode today, by the way.
yeah.
No, it's okay. We had to dive deep in a little bit into basketball.
a little sidetrack.
Yeah, I'm not that much of a basketball person besides the Pistons and like the playoffs if they make it. But
Well, they will.
They will make the play-in for sure.
I hope so. We don't want to say that right now. Well, they win a playoff game. Check back in like 2 months. We'll see.
If they do, I'll go into
A
the
game
playoff
or a
game.
series?
If they
A game. They haven't won a game since 2008.
a game. The Lions.
They're what? The 6th seed right now? I
Yes,
believe
they play the
Knicks
Knicks.
number 2 right
They're
now?
number 3.
Or they're 3?
Yeah,
This-
they play Brunson and probably
Shit,
get swept
they
at
can
MSG.
beat a game off the Knicks.
This
I
game,
would
this
hope
season
so.
for the NBA has been one confusing season.
Yeah.
I mean,
What do
the Philadelphia 76ers
What do you
with
got?
with Paul George and Joel Embiid.
Oh, I knew that shit wasn't going to work out.
Trust the process.
You put together 2 bums that play 2 games a year, and you're like, ooh, it's going to work, guys. I promise you it's going to work.
Trust the process,
And then
man.
Embiid doesn't
Again.
play for the beginning of the year.
And
And
then-
then comes out and plays a bunch of stinkers.
I think-
PG's been like non-existent.
I think shocker of the year for me, Clippers.
Dang,
Clippers have
are
been
they good or are they bad?
Clippers have been
Clippers
real
have been
good.
really good. With
They
James
got
Harden,
Kawhi still,
with James Harden leading them, Kawhi's been out all
He
season.
just
Oh
got
my
healthy.
God.
Kawhi's been out
He
all
just
season.
played his first couple of games recently.
Oh,
Yeah, I think they're the most
James,
shocking.
James Harden been come out and carry job.
I think they're the most shocking team. But I think we should get back on topic
the
with the
Pistons are-
NFL. I think we should talk
Over
about.
500?
I know it's a couple months.
Through the season?
I know it's a couple months
This
away.
guy is
a-
mocking the camera.
I know
go
it's
ahead.
I know it's a couple months away up until April, end of April. But NFL mock draft. I mean, we know the order for like the top 5. I mean, what do we think?
New England, you make me so sad. Okay.
Who has the first pick? The Titans?
Yep, Titans.
Titans have the first. I gotta rant real quick. I was raised under both New England and Lions football. You can find me in little baby Brady jerseys, and you can find me in a little baby Ndamukong Suh jersey. New England, what are you doing? What are you doing? You had one job. You had
Lose against the
literally.
Bills.
You want to know
you
what
were gonna get
the
first
number one
pick.
outcome could have been if New England just lost the first game against Cincinnati. Guess what? They would have the first pick, and Cincinnati would be in the playoffs, and we
Yeah.
could have had Cincinnati versus Buffalo round 1, which would have been awesome.
Awesome.
Burrow versus
And now-
Buffalo.
New England has the 4th pick, and they could have, like, if they wanted to, you could have drafted Travis Hunter number 1. You could have not. You could have traded down and gotten a big ass haul from like some QB hungry team. Like maybe Vegas wanted to trade up or
I
something.
think the
I think
Raiders
I think Raiders.
Like-
I think Raiders. I think
they might
Raiders.
will anyway.
I think Raiders will trade for
They're gonna
a
trade.
top. I think Raiders will trade for top. Will trade for the number 2 pick or number 3.
I saw some crazy mock drafts earlier this morning, and it was like the Raiders trading with Tennessee for the first pick to get Shadur, and then Tennessee drafts Abdul Carter, which would be ridiculous because Tennessee might thug it out with Will Levis and trade for a haul.
man.
Yeah, I know, diabolical, right, Mr. Mayo Man. They might thug it out with the guy that
They
likes mayo
could.
in his coffee. It was just as white as the mayo that he puts inside
Okay,
coffee.
That Mayo.
that would be
I don't think that's appropriate. I'm just kidding.
This guy.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
I think that it's gonna be interesting because the real fun part is the Giants are at 3, right?
Yes.
So
I'm pretty
what
sure.
do the Giants
I'm pretty
do?
sure.
The Giants are
Do they-
QB.
I'm pretty
Are
sure.
they going to?
Yeah,
Could you-
Shador Sanders
so-
is going to be perfect.
Now
timing
hold on.
and he's Rutherford.
Now hold on. If Shadur and Cam Ward both get drafted 1 and 2, let's say Titans stick to what everyone thinks is going to happen, which is that they pick Cam Ward number 1, and then
think
Browns
Shadur.
pick Shadur number 2.
If the Titans take
What?
Shador, I will be really disappointed.
I
in
think
the
they
Titans.
will.
Shador Sanders, I think at any other draft I think NFL executives have said this, is not a first round pick in any other draft. And
Absolutely.
based off last year, he did not want to go into the draft because Caleb Williams was the consensus number 1 overall pick. Either way, if he did go into the draft last year, he's not getting picked over Drake May or Jaden Daniels, in my opinion.
I think by far the funniest scenario is that the Giants pick Jalen Milroe at 3. Could you imagine if they picked Milroe at 3?
Milroe, if they go late first round. I think.
Did you watch the Michigan game?
Second round pick.
Did you watch the Michigan game?
Yes.
This dude got cooked by Rayshawn Benny.
Well,
that's
Michigan
sad.
Cooks all type of mobile QBs.
Why, bro?
Have you
Michigan
seen
had all their defensive starters all out.
What's C.J. Stroud's record against Michigan as a starting QB?
0-2, deservedly so.
Exactly.
Boom.
Yes, but look at him now. Look at him now, though. He's thriving for the Texans. While inconsistent, he's still pretty good. One of the top QBs in the AFC. So,
yeah. Breaking news from the NBA again.
Nerd.
West starters got announced.
Jokic.
I mean, I think it's pretty obvious.
The Joker.
I think it's obvious.
LeBron.
LeBron James.
I want to make a guess.
Yeah,
I want to make a guess before it is.
Take guesses before.
I think it's gonna be Jokic, LeBron, KD.
Yep. D-Book? D-Book?
No, this is starters, right?
This is starters. Yep, only starters.
Shea.
What a pro.
And are they gonna do Luka over Steph?
I think
it's gonna be Luka.
No, you were 4 for 4 up until Luka.
It was Steph.
Steph made it over Luka.
Okay. Which, I mean, honestly, like, you could go either way. They both kind of had some more down years.
Luka, I mean,
that'd be a pretty good guess though.
Yeah, it was a great guess. I mean, yeah.
Are we gonna go back to?
Back to NFL. I mean, not much to talk.
Draft
Not much to talk about with the West starters. I mean, I think it's pretty obvious about it.
Yeah.
West is star stacked. I mean, let's get back to the NFL draft.
So if you had to take your choice of Shadur or Cam Ward at 1, let's change this. Let's say you're Tennessee at 1. What would you do if you're an NFL GM?
I don't know Tennessee's situation, so I couldn't really answer that
think about
question.
it. They have Will Levis at a QB. As QB.
Oh yeah, that is true. It's his second year in the league.
The meme god, Will Levis. I mean, god damn, there were so many memes about him.
That is tough, actually. I don't know.
My mayonnaise.
I couldn't tell you, but
I do think that there's a real possibility that Tennessee trades down.
I think so too.
They could trade down and get someone like Ashton Genty because they need a running back. They do.
Okay, so you would take Ashton Genty over Abdul Carter, Mason Graham, Will Johnson, Malachi Starks?
You know what? Screw it here.
Yes.
You know what? Let's just say screw it right here and just say this. I know that you just said they trade down and take
Scatabo second round.
Yeah. I know you just said that they trade down and take Ashton Genty. I know that you just said trade down and get Ashton Genty.
Yeah.
The Cowboys are projected to get Ashton Genty.
That's true.
This is a really stupid trade. Dak Prescott and the 12th pick for the number 1 overall pick.
No.
The Cowboys get Shedeur Sanders and Deion Sanders.
That's worse than Dishon's take. You are fighting for clips right now. That is diabolical. You cannot say that, John, without a straight face. You are laughing your ass off.
That's why I said this is a stupid ass idea.
Yeah.
And that's what I said.
And you know what? I think that Jerry Jones is just dumb enough to do it.
I mean, look at who's hiring for their. Who they're hiring for their head coach.
Could you
They've
imagine?
had talks with their offensive coordinator.
That's another
for a deal to get him as their head coach.
Nah, could you imagine? Could you imagine? Jerry is like, "Hey, yo, Deion, if I draft your kid, will you come coach?" And then they do that stupid shit.
No, they do a sign trade.
Oh my god,
this is the first ever father and son trade off in the NFL.
No, and then they trade.
I'd be suicidal.
No, and then they trade.
Actually, I'd laugh myself.
This is worse than Bronny and LeBron James.
No,
not with sperm.
No, here. No. Oh, and they draft Shiloh.
I don't think that's gonna happen. That's like
he's gonna be undrafted free agent, bro.
Yeah,
No,
I do think
no.
He might be Mr. Irrelevant.
Hang on. Micah Parsons
No.
to the Browns.
No, okay, all right.
Travis.
Get your ass out. Get your ass out.
I am gonna say right now, Will Johnson's projected to be a top 10 pick.
You should be.
I think he's gonna get bounced upwards because he is like the best cornerback in the nation that's in the draft. Travis Hunter is probably second in regards to that, but I think Will Johnson's a better. He seems more NFL ready than Travis Hunter.
For sure.
In my personal opinion, it goes like this: Travis Hunter is not the best wide receiver or a cornerback in the draft. Teteroy McMillan, best wide receiver in my opinion in the draft, and then
big target.
And then for corner, I gotta say Will Johnson.
Will Johnson.
Travis Hunter, as much as I hate him winning Heisman, because snaps are not stats at all. I think he can. I think if he really truly wants it, he can play both sides in the NFL. But it's really up to him.
We'll see.
I mean, are they gonna look at that as like a factor when they draft him? Is he gonna play both sides, or are they just writing off the hype and hoping that he becomes a generational talent?
I'll say real quick.
I need the Lions to get Will Johnson.
That's diabolical.
Yeah.
I think that.
Buff him up. Go ahead.
As your one and only person that's not like 100% Lions fan sitting here on the set, if I was in New England spot and the draft goes Cam Ward, Shadur, and Travis are all off the board, I think I need New England to go. I think honestly, I've been thinking about this a lot more. I think that the value of O-line is going to be in your second round. Because
I thought you were going to say first five.
Oh, hell no.
Mason Graham or something.
Well, I mean, they could take Mason Graham.
That's true.
Because the Patriots need a lot of help everywhere.
Imagine
I think that
Michael.
lots of your help comes for O-line area. I feel like you could get like a decent tackle in the second round.
So that's
the issue. Lots of the current tackles, like lots of your highly rated ones, like Kelvin Banks and Will Campbell, they're probably going to switch to guard because they're a little bit more on the undersized area, a little bit shorter arms. So if you don't think that you can take your tackle of the future, you could get a blue chip guy like Abdul Carter. He is without a doubt the best pass rusher in this class. And after trading Judon, New England had no pass rush other than Keon White, who was actually pretty decent for being what he was. But you definitely need something to be on either the D-line or you need to get a wide receiver, and I would pick Teteroy McMillan. I think either of those options are good. I don't know. I'm kind of leaning into the Abdul Carter hype. He had a really good playoff while being hurt.
You could pick Emeka Egbuka too. He's
that high?
I think
not that high.
I think he'll be one of the ones that also get slid up due to a general manager's aggressiveness.
I think he's mid. I think he's mid-late first round.
Okay, I can see that. Maybe not top 10, like probably 12 or 13 in my opinion.
I don't know.
It'd be like a Jahmyr Gibbs situation.
He's not getting picked above Luther Burden, Teteroy McMillan, and Travis Hunter.
He could.
I don't think so.
He could, but do you think if he does fall that Jacksonville could use him?
They could. Jacksonville could take him. Well, New England would pick above Jacksonville in the second round. So
because Jacksonville's I think Jacksonville's at 12. I think. Or like in like the 9 range.
Jacksonville, I think, is the 5th overall pick, if I remember correctly. I believe it's Tennessee, Cleveland Browns, and then
Giants,
and then the Giants, and then New England, and then I think it's Jacksonville, and then I think it's the Raiders. So I think, I mean, if New England could go Emeka Egbuka, if they go Abdul Carter or Emeka Egbuka, holy winning draft. Yeah. Although I said the exact same thing when they drafted Drake May and then Jalen Polk, and then Jalen Polk has been shit in the bed. He looks like prime Kadarius Toney.
I don't think he even had a prime.
Kadarius was
Quentin
good.
Johnson. He looks like Quentin Johnson out there. He's dropping every pass.
Kadarius used to be really good though.
In Florida.
And then he got to the it wasn't even Chiefs. It was the Giants. I
And then he
believe.
got to the league.
He's stinking up the joint.
The Giants, he was okay, but he wasn't great. That's
He was
why
on the
got
Browns.
traded.
He was on the Browns this past year.
Yeah.
They released him.
Yeah.
That's what you get when
He
you lost
lost-
2 separate punts in the same game.
He lost the wax in his gloves through those 2 years. I feel bad for him. I hope
Yeah,
you
he's-
have a good rebound and become comeback player of the year.
His ass is not watching this.
I know. As long as you're not.
This
as
fool's
long as
talking
you're
like
not-
he's talking to his
As
mom.
long as you're not a convicted felon like Deshaun Watson or
Rasheed Rice. Rasheed Rice.
Rasheed Rice or anything like that, you need to do great. You need
Or
to
Henry
stay
Ruggs.
civilized, not be
Oh
out
my
here
God.
like these people in the NFL
I
that
heard-
lose their minds over some people. You know,
Oh my god.
like don't get like Antonio Brown now.
CT
No,
ESPN.
no. Antonio Brown, Central Michigan legend.
Yeah.
I will be
That
getting
C
it.
We will-
stands for
we-
CTE, bro.
We will defend Antonio Brown. Our glorious CTE ESPN.
Oh,
My glorious King Antonio Brown, my CTE go.
Still
Oh,
serving.
I mean,
I will be getting a number 27 Antonio Brown.
Yeah.
At some point, I need it.
Still
Oh my god, we need that.
That
for
would be
next-
the elite.
We need that for next.
Oh,
football
we get it
season.
hung up. That'd
Oh
be
my god,
diabolical.
please.
Does that wrap up this episode?
I think it does.
I
it
think
does.
we are all done.
We
Yeah.
are sailing because this was the pilot episode, guys.
Which is
I know
fine.
It was
Yeah.
corny, but I'm here to deliver the jokes. You feel me? Would y'all like to do the honors?
I
Yeah.
don't know what the fuck you're feeling, but sure.
Yeah.
I think some future segments. I think that we're gonna do. We're gonna introduce at some point. We're a little bit time crunched today because I'm on Central Michigan's volleyball team, so
He's an athlete.
I got some stuff to do.
He's premium.
Um,
I'm getting there. He's getting there. We
There you
all
go.
good.
Yeah.
So I think some stuff that we're gonna introduce. We're gonna introduce some possible shorts content.
Yep.
I think that something that I've personally been thinking about doing. We could do like some short form content that could be like including like all time drafts or stuff like that for certain sports, whatever we're talking about that day. I think that could be fun.
Or even moments
then-
where you just react, like to the draft, or
For sure.
give like a little short thought about like
If we film our draft reactions, that'd be.
we might be able to film our draft reactions, or we talk about basketball or incoming baseball news most likely.
Yeah.
With
That's the baseball guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love
I
playing
mean,
baseball.
we got a lot to look forward to. March Madness is coming up. NBA playoffs are coming up.
Mhm.
There's a lot to look forward to.
We're gonna do, and one more segment that we will introduce at some point is dorm room debate.
Yes.
We think it's gonna be hilarious because we naturally have like some disagreements in terms of sports, especially this
Yeah,
fool,
we're gonna
'cause
be
this
cooking
guy
up some bangers.
says some of the craziest shit you'll ever hear
Yes.
from anybody.
Yeah.
Hey, but
This,
it be
this
happening,
fool
though.
says some crazy stuff.
I've called the exact penalty and result of the penalty before to them. It was Western versus Central. I
More
said,
times than once.
yeah, I said the
Surprisingly,
play
and
before.
he called the Jared Goff pick.
Yeah, that's crazy. I said a legal man downfield is gonna force him to kick a field goal, and that's exactly what happened the next play.
Yep.
It's-
But if you want to
it's
see us
uncanny.
do content, like more content, comment down below. I think that's gonna be great.
Yeah.
Yeah,
or
we
give us your
love
thoughts
to
in
hear
the comments.
suggestions. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
I mean, next week for sure we're gonna be talking about the NFL. I mean, the NFL Super Bowl. I mean, I think honestly,
Super Bowl matchup.
Super Bowl matchup. We're gonna give our thoughts on that. Give our thoughts on the Pro Bowl probably,
Even a deep dive into the Juan Soto signing by the Mets, maybe.
maybe, and then yeah, join
I
us
don't know
next.
baseball like that.
Yeah,
He went
no,
from-
no.
He went from-
Well, I know what happened.
Yeah,
but
okay, okay.
All I'm saying, I won't be talking.
Yeah,
about
that's
that.
like you going to Western because you got paid more money to join the
That's
volleyball team.
crazy.
Yeah, but for sure next week we're gonna have a lot
This
more.
doesn't get NIL for volleyball.
For sure next week we're gonna have a lot more discussions, a lot more topics to talk about.
Yeah, episode would probably be a little longer, if I
Yep.
had to guess.
I mean, thank you for watching this episode. If you enjoyed, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe button. And we'll see you all next week. Thank you all very much.
See ya.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.